I've noticed this trend in movies of fitting two villains in, something I'm going to call the double villain. Not the triple or multiple villain, it tends to just be the double, and I'm going to come back to why that's important. What I mean by double villain, let's go over some examples really quick. Hela and the Grandmaster from Thor Ragnarok, Electro and Green Goblin from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Rogue Jaeger and the Mega Kaiju from Pacific Rim Uprising, the Joker and Two-Face from The Dark Knight, Talkin' Buddy and Baby Driver, and M'Baku and Killmonger from Black Panther. There seems to be a pretty consistent trend across all of these. All of them are superhero movies, and most of them are sequels. So first, let's look at why that is. When you build on something existing, the expectation is to see things you haven't before. Things need to be bigger, there needs to be more superheroes. Batman has the Joker, so Batman Returns is gonna have the Penguin and Catwoman. And Batman Forever is gonna have the Riddler and Two-Face. And now we have Robin too. And Batman and Robin is gonna have Batman and Robin and Batgirl and Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, and also Bane is in there. This isn't limited to superhero movies. You see this kind of power creep in tons of action movies. Think Die Hard compared to A Good Day to Die Hard, or how The Fast and the Furious was about stealing VCRs, but Furious 7 is about the surveillance state. Relatively down-to-earth action movies over many sequels will escalate. Even non-action movies feel this need to trend towards the commercial standard. Think Alien vs. Aliens vs. Alien vs. Predator. Okay, that one I mostly just wanted to say out loud. And this has just been exacerbated by the Marvel... With the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not only does each successive movie need to be bigger, it needs to be more interconnected. We need to establish Claw and Ultron so that way he can appear in Black Panther. We gotta have Loki and just everything. The more people you have, the more star power you can put on the bill. But even then, the number of villains is a pretty meaningful cap around 2. I say around 2 because in terms of distinct villains, it tends to be limited to 2. In Batman and Robin, there may have been Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and Bane, but Bane was a glorified henchman. It could be pretty well lumped in with Poison Ivy. Black Panther has Claw, as mentioned before, but his role is mostly encircled by Killmonger. The closest exception that I can think of is Batman 66, but the villains are essentially one unit. They even had their own cool banner. More than this, and your attention is too split following villains instead of your heroes, or else you just don't get a sense of some of your villains, or they just get lumped together like Bane. On a less cynical note, having multiple villains gives you plot options. If you have just one villain, the progression is pretty clear. With 2, one might become an ally, someone may become a villain partway through, a villain can be a red herring. The villain doesn't just have to be introduced at the beginning and defeated at the end. Those two can more easily happen more places along the movie. Especially in the time of what Scott Benson, co-creator of Night in the Woods, calls puzzle box narratives, this gives audience the kinds of twists and turns they want to figure out. It's fuel to lay down a breadcrumb trail. However, there is a good reason to have a double villain, even if that isn't the usual use of it. A double villain can work to mediate a film's themes. They can create nuance by giving 2 points of reference on how to act. Thor Ragnarok uses Hela and Jeff Goldblum to show different aspects of colonialism. The Dark Knight shows how the corruptible and the incorruptible can both lead to chaos. For a deeper dive on this, check out Movies with Mikey's Dark Knight video, link in the Dooblydoo. But the best use I have seen is in Black Panther. Black Panther is a tremendous accomplishment on so many fronts. I hope I get to talk about this in so many different aspects later. But for now, I want to focus on M'Baku and Killmonger and how they allow for a nuanced theme in Black Panther. The first part of Black Panther sets up the status quo, and the second breaks that apart. M'Baku as the traditional challenger establishes Wakanda as advanced and progressive. By the time of T'Challa's crowning ceremony, we have already been endeared to him. We see him as the rightful next king, from his parentage to his fighting prowess to his humanity with Nakia and Shuri. M'Baku, on the other hand, is framed as villainous. He comes from the backwards faction that never came together with the others. They're loud and intimidating and impeding on this nice moment. And in this moment, M'Baku stands for traditionalism in the most restrictive sense. He even calls out Shuri, for scoffing at tradition through technological advancements. T'Challa's victory over M'Baku is symbolic of a triumph over tradition. Killmonger, though, is all about, how shall we say, overcoming tradition. He uses and abuses the rules of Wakandan tradition for a perverse idea of progress. Killmonger is framed as bad. He is ruthless and deceiving and in opposition to our hero T'Challa. He takes the same stage, the same challenge that M'Baku did, the cliff face of the waterfall. This time the roles are reversed. T'Challa as the insider is seen as the defender of the traditions and conventions of Wakanda, where Killmonger is seen to invade and invert them. If you set up 2 sides, one is good and one is bad, you get an unlimited message. Tradition is bad, and anything that isn't tradition is good. But by introducing the second villain, the second set of contrasts, you can put a bound on how far the message goes. Tradition can be restrictive, but it can also be foundational. Progress can be liberating or perpetuate oppression. Themes get more focused and consequently more nuanced through these meaningful limitations, and boy does Black Panther play it well. This capping is also why I talk about the double villain as opposed to the multiple villain. It bookends. It reduces the error bars, the uncertainty. Almost like how double villains can be a corporate tool or an important thematic tool, and we should individually analyze their role in film. Nailed it! Boom! End of video. See you next week. I'm gonna say the word prowess again. To his fighting prowess, prowess. Whew. To his fighting prowess. Ooh, no, I'm just not gonna get that one.